Hey guys, I got the RX10 Mark IV here and I just wanted to go over the different focus area modes. Alright, so if you hit the function button, this will bring you into the function menu and this little icon represents the focus area. So I'm going to click that and now you got your different focus areas as you can see here on the left, and you can just scroll down and look at all the areas. This bottom one, Lock On AF Expandable Spot, is grayed out right now because I'm not in autofocus continuous mode. I currently have it set to autofocus auto mode, which is AFA. There's actually a little dial on the front of the camera right here where you can change that, just to let you know. I'll show you that in a second, but let me just go over these first. So wide mode is going to use all the focus points on the entire sensor, and using, Sony's intelligent algorithms, it's going to figure out what to focus on. So basically what the algorithm says is focus on what's closest to the camera unless you see a face of some sort, and if it does, prioritize the face. So in this case, these faces I have in the frame are so small, that little image that you see over here, it's just so small that it's not choosing that by default, but so it's going after what's closest to the camera, and it is choosing that screw correctly. That is what's closest. So sometimes this doesn't work for you though, like in general, this will work most of the time and it'll pick what you actually want. The camera just seems to know. It's amazing like that. But again, sometimes it doesn't work. So you can go in here and you can change it to center. So center, we'll just focus on the center area, okay? And then of course, this is the RX10 Mark IV, which has a touch screen. You could always just touch the screen and move the focus where you want it. All right, so that's an override that you always have available to you, okay? I'm just driving that point home. So now if I go back to function, you can change your area to flexible spot. And if notice the little arrows on the left and the right, you can change the size of this. Large, medium, and small. When I use this feature, I usually use small, and because I'm looking for something extremely precise, so if I want to focus, let's say, on this face in the background, which is kind of far, I need something small like this. All right, and now it's locking on that face and that little photo in the background there. All right, so that's what is good about this feature in particular. If I want to focus like down here, for example, you can dial it in with this feature and it works really well. So another one, go back in here, is this expand flexible spot. And this is my go-to focus mode for the most part. And it's very similar to flexible spot, okay? Except this one's expandable. So it starts off as a small flexible spot. You can see the square is the same as the small size, but it actually expands out a couple of focus points in all directions to, just give you more flexibility with your subject, especially if there's a moving subject. So I particularly like this feature for moving subjects like sports and things like that. And it's a very nice feature. Move it around, or you can just touch the screen to put it where you want, okay? So the last mode I wanted to show you is the Lock On AF Expand Flexible Spot. But in order to do that, I have to change the dial on the front of the camera here to AFC mode, like so. And now, if I go to function, that feature is available. See that? All right, so Lock On Flexible Spot basically will just lock onto something. See that? When you hold the shutter down, it's locking on to this, and now it's tracking it. It's tracking it all over the frame while I have the shutter down. You see that? And it's doing it automatically. It chose the face, and it's, locking onto it because it was where it was when I first started. So this mode works really good, but you have to have the camera set manually to autofocus continuous mode. Autofocus auto mode will not work. It grays it out, okay? But that's what Lock On Expandable Flexible Spot does, and it's an awesome feature, especially if you have a subject that's going to stay the same, like if there's a car or just one person in a field that you're tracking, for example. You can tell it lock on that, and the camera will remember, and it'll stay locked on it. Even if it goes out of the frame for a second and comes back in, it'll re-attain lock. It's amazing. So that's a very powerful feature, and it does take a little bit of getting used to though, so you got to play with these things, guys. You got to give it some time, and you will get the hang of it, the more you play with it, okay? So that's the different focus areas. All right, so to continue the discussion on focus, these are the different focus modes. You have single shot AF, you have A, which is auto, and you have C for continuous. Then you have DMF, which is direct manual focus, I believe it stands for, and then manual focus. So manual focus is just going to allow, you just have to turn the ring here, the focus ring, and that's how you control the focus there. DMF basically how that works, I'll show you. Let's see here. You just lock on to your subject, and now you can turn the focus ring, all right? So you can fine tune it, and then it'll take the shot. You can't do that in any other mode other than DMF. So this is great for macro type photos, flowers, things like that. The other modes, like I discussed earlier, are for single shot, so it'll just focus and shoot like so. It'll focus one time, lock on, and then you can recompose the camera and the focus is not going to change, all right? My finger let up, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, you basically lock the focus and then you can move it and it's not going to change. You could take the shot. This is great for focusing and then recomposing the scene, all right? That's what AFS is for. And then AFA, like I said earlier, is auto. So this will recognize if you have a moving subject or not. Like it'll change to continuous automatically if you start moving in front of it, and you can see it is. You can see it's automatically switching. You can see the focus points moving so it tracks my hands. It does that automatically, and it does a really good job, all right? And then you got AFC, which we discussed already, this continuous autofocus, so that just locks it into continuous, as you can see here. If I hold the shutter down and just move it around, it's gonna, you know, constantly change and track and try to figure out what to do. It's continuously focusing the entire time. All right, so it's a good feature for sports and moving subjects. And then of course, like I said earlier, you got manual focus. So now I'm in manual focus mode. And if you turn the focus ring, it automatically zooms in for you. It gives you a preview and you could dial in the focus and works really good. That's manual focus. Sometimes you just need manual focus again. Usually macro photography, things like that is where it really comes in handy. For the most part, I've been leaving it in AFA. And that seems to work great. It automatically detects if subjects are moving, so it switches the camera to AFC for you. And if the subject is still, it'll keep it in AFS mode, which works out really good. And again, don't forget, you can always touch the screen to change your focus point at any time, like so. And works great. Alrighty.